Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a recent event where a Chinese balloon, more precisely हम बोल सकते हैं कि spy balloon जो है, it has been allegedly spotted in the Taiwan. As we know, जो ताइवान है वो एक disputed territory है, चाइना के द्वारा इसको claim किया जाता है that it is the territorial part of China, and China has been multiple times has been involved in such kind of incident where it has created spy balloons to look into the areas of Taiwan. So one other this kind of event we have seen here. Now let us try to understand about this in more detail. So if you talk about this particular event, it has been claimed by Taiwan, and it had detected a Chinese balloon over the sea, that is northwest of the island. We'll look at the map of the Taiwan also later. And this region where the spying was being conducted or being done lies around 111 km to the north of Keeling port, that is a port in Taiwan. अगर हम ज्योग्राफी की बात करें, मैपिंग जैसे क्वेश्चंस जो कि प्रीलिम्स में आजकल बहुत ऑफनली पूछे जाते हैं, तो उसमें आपको ध्यान देना कि जब भी इस तरह का कोई प्लेस न्यूज में आ रहा हो तो उसके बारे में आप एक नोट्स बना सकते हैं. सो यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड इजीली इन द प्रीलिम्स कि कीलुंग पोर्ट, it is part of which of the given regions? So the answer will be Taiwan. So Taiwan has detected the Chinese balloon where? To the North Keelung port. Now this is not the first time in history that China has been involved in such kind of incidents. Before also we talk about the month of April, Taiwan has reported similar kind of incident. Before that we talk about in the month of February, also one balloon was shot down by Taiwan. So such events have become very frequent, very common these days. अगर हम ताइवान के डिफेंस मिनिस्ट्री के स्टेटमेंट को देखें तो डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने क्लियरली कहा कि बैलून एंटर्ड द आइलैंड्स एयर डिफेंस आइडेंटिफिकेशन जोन. नाउ विल टॉक अबाउट व्हाट इज एयर डिफेंस आइडेंटिफिकेशन जोन इन द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. सो एयर डिफेंस आइडेंटिफिकेशन जोन हैज बीन ब्रीच्ड, इसको ब्रीच किया है जो चाइनीज बलून है. और द इंसिडेंट कम्स एज चाइना मेंटेन्स प्रेशर ऑन ताइवान एज बीजिंग रिगार्ड्स ताइवान, एज वी हैव डिस्कस्ड बिफोर आल्सो, पार्ट ऑफ इट्स ओन टेरिटरी रादर देन एन इंडिपेंडेंट नेशन. So basically what happened during the earlier history when the war was being fought, civil war we can say more precisely, was being fought between in China, there were two parties. One was the people's this we can say communist party that was led by Mao Zedong, and then you have the another party that was more capitalist friendly. So as a result of civil war in the mainland China, you have the control of we can say communist party, and it renamed China as we know today as the People's Republic of China, and the government fled to the Taiwan and then settled there and set up their own government there, and they renamed it as the Republic of China. So Taiwan claims that the entire China belongs to them, and China claims that Taiwan is the integral. So if you talk about the air defense identification zone, what is air defense identification zone? So सबसे पहले तो अगर हम देखें हमारा ताइवान, ये है एक छोटा सा आइलैंड जो आपको देखने को मिल रहा है, which is situated in the East China Sea. यहाँ पे हमारा मेनलैंड चाइना है, और ये ताइवान के अराउंड जो आप ये स्क्वायर बॉक्स देख रहे हैं, इसको ताइवान ने एयर डिफेंस आइडेंटिफिकेशन जोन डिक्लेयर किया हुआ है. अब एयर डिफेंस आइडेंटिफिकेशन जोन अगर हम सिंपल टर्म्स में समझे तो एक ऐसा जोन है which every country is free to basically identify above its air, above its land space or above its air, the sea space, where a country can try to identify, locate and control aircraft in the interest of national security. इन सीधे साधे शब्दों में अगर हम समझें तो कोई भी किसी दूसरे देश का विमान इस एरिया में एंटर नहीं कर सकता है, और अगर एंटर करता है तो इसको तुरंत जो ताइवानीज अथॉरिटी है उसके सामने उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा, अपने आप को आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा. एंड इट इज डिक्लेयर्ड यूनिलैटरली एंड many extend beyond the country's territory to give the country more time to respond to possibly intercept any kind of hostile aircraft. That is also understandable, क्योंकि मान लो अगर हमारे पास एक ताइवान है, यहाँ पे अगर कोई एनिमी कंट्री की एयरक्राफ्ट यहाँ इस जोन में एंटर कर रही है तो जब तक ताइवान एक्शन लेगा, अगर मान लो ADIZ नहीं है यहाँ पे, तो जब तक ताइवान एक्शन लेगा तब तक ऑलरेडी बहुत देर हो चुकी होगी. द एयरक्राफ्ट कैन ऑलरेडी फायर द मिसाइल्स एंड ऑल दैट. So that is why as soon as the enemy country's aircraft enter into this zone, Taiwanese Air Force or its authorities can become responsive and can become alert to take any actions if the aircraft has some ill intentions toward the given country. So this is applicable all across the world. Almost all the countries of the world identify air defense identification zone around themselves. So that is about the ADIZ. Next, if we talk about this particular issue where high altitude balloons are being used for the spying purposes. So first of all, if we talk about the high altitude balloons, the first use of such balloons goes back to as far as 200 years. Now, it is not that only these balloons are used for the spying purposes. The balloons are involved in multifarious activities that can range as far as scientific purposes to as far as tourism, joyrides, surveillance, and disaster relief and rescue. For example, many countries of the world, including India also, you will see that many places which are tourist hotspot, you will have the facility to have a balloon ride where you can fly over in a geographical area and just enjoy the sceneries, wildlife and all that. So the bigger balloons can be as large as the football stadium. अगर हम साइज की बात करें तो फुटबॉल स्टेडियम के बड़ा इतना बड़ा भी एक बलून हो सकता है. और अगर हम बात करें कितनी ऊंचाई तक, how far it can go up in the atmosphere, so largely it goes up to 40 to 50 kilometers from the ground and it can carry few thousand kilograms of the payload. Now this payload can be humans, this payload can be instruments, scientific instrument, cameras and all. Now if you look at the structure of this balloon, how these balloons are made. So first of all, the thin sheets of polyethylene is same plastic bags that you are using are used here because these are lightweight, durable in nature and are mostly filled with the helium gas. क्यों helium gas का use करते हैं? क्यों? Simple logic है, helium is lighter than our atmosphere, so only the lighter gases can take anything up in the atmosphere. That is why we are using the helium gases. आपने helium balloons भी बहुत बार यूज किया होगा. अगर आप उसको हवा में छोड़ देंगे तो the balloon will keep on going up in the atmosphere. The similar kind of principle is on which the high altitude balloons are based upon as well. Now, if we talk about the high altitude balloons, they can stay in the air or atmosphere anywhere between a few hours to a couple of months, depending upon how much energy the balloon has. Balloons typically have a basket attached to them called gondolas that carry instruments or human beings. For example, if you look at the structure here, this is the main balloon that is carrying the payloads in the upper atmosphere, and attached to it you have the gondolas. In unmanned flights, the gondolas are also attached to a parachute. Also, once the balloon has served its purpose, for example, when the China is trying to spy in the Taiwanese territory, once the balloon has served its purpose, most of time in the balloon you have a self-destruction mechanism that is attached to it. This self-destruction mechanism first of all causes the detachment of the gondolas from the main balloon, and also it causes a kind of what we can call as a slice in the balloon which causes it to rupture and fall down. And it is precisely due to this region the instruments can be retrieved back later for using for the next time as well. Again, if you try to compare the high altitude balloons, so we know that the commercial airlines, they go as high as 12 km in the sky. अगर हम फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट की बात कर लें तो कमर्शियल एयरलाइंस से भी काफी ऊंची उठती है और वो हमारे 20 किलोमीटर के आसपास तक जा सकती है. और जो हाई एल्टीट्यूड बलून है वो इन दोनों से भी ऊपर एटमॉस्फेयर में जा सकती है और उसका जो रेंज है लार्जली इफ यू टॉक अबाउट सर्विलेंस बलून मोर स्पेसिफिकली तो वो 24 से 37 किलोमीटर के बीच कहीं ना कहीं they keep on flying slowly. So that is about the altitude. Now, if you look at the main uses of the balloon, it has been used in the scientific missions because the balloons can easily be equipped with the instruments and they were able to perform function of satellite before the space aged down. Obviously, after the satellite has come into picture, the significance of balloon has declined. However, we also have to keep in mind because of the cost of balloon is very, very less as compared to satellite. That is why they are much more cheaper method of examining the atmospheric parameters. And the main parameters that are used to measure here or study here are the air temperature, you have the pressure measurement, wind speed, direction, as well as the aerosol concentration. So many weather agencies across the world, even at the airports, before the flights can be given the direction to take off, they need to understand the weather situations around it. So for that also the weather balloons are being used. So they offer better opportunity obviously to observe the specific parts of the earth and also are 1000 times cheaper as we discussed from satellites. NASA also has, due to this reason, a fully fledged balloon program that does 4 to 5 launches every year. Moreover, because the balloons are brought down after their job is done, the instruments used are recoverable and reusable, and that is what also gives it an extra advantage as compared to other means of the weather measurement. अगर हम बात करें सर्विलेंस में इसका क्या एडवांटेज है, बिकॉज दैट इज वेयर द चाइना वर यूज्ड और चाइना वर यूजिंग इन द ताइवान. So high altitude balloons are tempting vehicles for espionage operations, so their use is not known to be very common. Now what are the advantages? First advantage तो आपका ये हो गया कि ये जो weather balloon है और high this altitude balloons है, they can hover over an area for a prolonged time. That means मान लो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ military activities हो रही है, उसको किसी countries को for long duration they need to watch it, so for that it becomes ideal choice. Big balloons can also carry few thousand kilograms of payload, which means they can be packed with a spying instrument. A spying instrument can be high resolution cameras, thermal cameras to see clearly during the night times, right? The greater prospect of their remaining undetected, and that is the most what you can call as the advantageous parameters or points that is attached with the high altitude balloons, because of their relatively slow movement. They do not move as fast as the aircrafts, helicopters and all these move that generally are used for the reconnaissance operations. They move relatively very slowly, and because of their slow movement, the balloons are mostly avoided by the defense radars. They flag it as simple flying of the birds, and thus it escapes the attention and can remain undetected over a territory of a country for a prolonged time. Now the US has taken note of this, and that is why US has clearly stated that they are trying to recalibrate the radar system to detect even the slow moving objects. So if any balloon is found flying in the US territories, then also that can be detected and then the appropriate action can be taken. Now it is not that only the balloon have advantages, these balloon users are also having certain disadvantages. For example, balloons lack the navigation system. For example, if you compare it with a chopper or aircraft, obviously they have much more sophisticated navigation system. So उस तरह के navigation system obviously balloons के पास available नहीं होती हैं. Even if we talk about the drones can be controlled in a much more better manner, accurate manner as compared to these balloons. And also these balloons, once they are airborne, they largely remain on the mercy of the wind speed interaction. मान लो कि China wanted to take the balloon to spy in the Taiwanese territory, but the movement of wind is very strongly away from the Taiwan. So what will happen? Balloon will drift away from Taiwan and its purpose will not be fulfilled. So disadvantages भी balloon के साथ हैं obviously. लेकिन the balloon अगर हम बात करें February 4 को जो balloon down किया गया था, there was a solar panel attached to it. Now this is also something very interesting, because if you attach a solar panel, you will not have to worry about the energy requirements of the balloon. It has given rise to the possibility of powering on-board propulsion device as well with the help of solar power, and thus balloon can be used for a much more longer duration of time and can even be controlled in terms of the direction, speed and all those things. So maybe in the future we can also see such kind of situations evolving there. So that is about what you can call as the advantages and disadvantages. Now if you take a look in India about the ballooning in India, so first of all we have in year 1948 the Homi Jahangir Bhabha, who is also known as the father of atomic energy in India. He was the first who sent a balloon for the cosmic ray research. After him, one of the most famous institute of India, that is Tata Institute of Fundamental Research or TIFR, situated in Mumbai. It has started the balloon fabrication work in the 1950s, and several balloon flights were launched from the Mumbai as well as Hyderabad. After this, in 1969, the same institute, that is TFR, it has opened a full-fledged balloon facility in Hyderabad, which remains India's largest facility today. Not only TIFR, but we also have several other institutions such as the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, situated in the Bengaluru. You have Usmania University, that is situated in Hyderabad. So these universities as well as several other private educational institutions today as well have launched their own balloon program. So that is how we can overall outline the balloon development program of India. So this is all what we have to understand in the present topic, the significance of high altitude balloon, why this particular issue was in news, and what is the possible future uses as well as the present uses of the high altitude balloons. Now based on this, if you can try to understand that what kind of questions may be framed in the mains examination. So one question that we have written here is, for example, question can simply be asked because it is a current affairs topic, that the recent news of high altitude balloons being used for surveillance has come. Discuss the advantages offered by balloon for such tasks. That means simply you have to explain, first of all, as the first statement is a statement, basically a statement. So you have to explain this or connect with the news. And then in the second part of the question, you have to discuss what is the advantages, why the balloon is being used for the espionage task, what other tasks can be carried out by such balloons. Then you can highlight here all the tasks that is carried by the HAB. That can be 15-mark question. Other variant of questions we can look, that is high altitude balloons plays an important role in the multifarious activities. Briefly present an outline of India's balloon program. So here you have talked about largely from the perspective of India, that where in India we are using these balloons and which are the institutes, organizations that are involved in manufacturing of balloons as well as the fabrication of balloons. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you understood the concept of the high altitude balloons, what are the advantages and disadvantages offered by them, and then why these balloons were in news recently. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.